All right, guys. Well, we are out here and we're with the new skid steer, and obviously you can tell it is a Bobcat. So the noise you hear is a cooling fan. My neighbor actually just got done running it a little bit ago, so the cooling fan, I just moved it up here so I could do a quick video. So it's a little warm, so it's running the fan to cool it down. This is a 2024 Bobcat T770. So I bought it used. When they dropped it off, it had 190 hours. It was owned by a municipality, so it really hasn't seen a whole lot of work. It has a little bit of dirt here and there from, I don't know what they did with it, street sweeping or something. They got a little bit dirty here and there, but doesn't have, I don't think it has a scratch on it. The only thing I've noticed, it has a sticker right here that chunks out of the ride control sticker. Other than that, I haven't noticed anything that's wrong with it at all. So I was pricing them. I looked at New Holland. I actually looked at New Holland, JCB, and Bobcat. New Holland, I had my little New Holland L218 to trade in. New Holland offered the most trade-in. They had a new unit that, with the trade-in, was about the same price as this one, with attachments. So it was kind of like, and I don't know about the New Holland, but the New Holland, the salesman at New Holland, he just kind of quit. I don't know what the deal was. He was supposed to be looking for a heavy-duty brush cutter for me. He had a couple brands he was going to look at to see what was available. He didn't want to sell the New Holland one to me because he said they were a ridiculous amount of money, and they weren't worth. He didn't think, they just weren't worth the money that they were asking for them. Whatever. But last time I talked to him, he was supposed to be looking for a brush cutter, and he never called me back. That was probably 3 weeks ago. So this Bobcat was actually traded in by a municipality at another dealership and had to be brought down, and then I bought it from them. And I was going to get this Bobcat. It did come with a brand new bucket. I think it's an 80 or 84 inch bucket. I think it might be an 80 inch bucket. It's just barely as wide as the tracks. Nice bucket. But we have it off because we were moving bales, so I was getting ready to switch the bale spears. But anyway, so I was going to buy the Bobcat. Of course, it came with the bucket, and then I was going to get a brush cutter and a post pounder. And they were going to same thing. The guy was like, hey, you don't want to buy a Bobcat brush cutter, you might want to buy a different brand. They're cheaper. But then options wise, it was getting close to being the same amount of money as I was looking at a Vernig. I was looking at getting the same amount of money as a Bobcat one. And then it was like availability wasn't as good, whereas they had a Bobcat one. And so I was going to buy that. And I got a Danuser, I'm not sure how you say it, Danuser or Danuser, post pounder, a hammer. It's an automatic post pounder with a grapple. We're going to do a video on that when we get it all going. But so at the last day, I decided, I didn't want to do the Bobcat brush cutter. I would rather keep the money, get a different brush cutter. I actually really like the heavy duty brush cutters from Rupp Manufacturing, and it's less than half as much. So I'm probably going to do that. I haven't bit the bullet on that yet, but that's probably where we're headed. So I know people out there like, oh, I got a T770. Well, so it was kind of interesting because the guy that sold me this, Bobcat has regions and districts or whatever. He could not sell me a new unit, but he found this one. It is darn near new. It's a little, I think they might have had it on a street sweeper. So it's got a little dirt here and there, but 190 hours when they dropped it off to me. That's like nothing, right? Can tell by the tracks. The tracks, it looks like, probably pavement. They were probably on pavement. The owner's manual was behind the seat, in the little box area that they're shipped in. I don't think they'd ever even opened it. So Why Bobcat? Well, like I said, New Holland dropped out. JCB offered like nothing trade-in. The nearest JCB dealer is at least 2 hours away. The salesman was kind of weird because the salesman was actually kind of local, but when I said, hey, you know, they offered more trade, and he didn't even respond. He was like, he just done. So I was really a little bit concerned about JCB. I know they're good stuff, but the dealership, you know, being far away, you know, you're bound to have warranty work. We talked about this before. You're bound to have electronic issues with a skid steer and warranty work because the environments that they work in and the way the wire and harnesses are made. Seems like every brand has issues. You know, Eric from is it 4M Ranch had a issue with his 6 hours. A brand new T86. He had an issue with it 6 hours into getting it. It was some kind of sensor or whatever. So I get that. But this is 92 horsepower, has low flow is like, I don't even remember, 23 gallons per minute, high flow is 36, but they're actually tested at 39. I've seen that more than one place where people have reported that they do actually put out 39, but under load, 30, 35, 36 is more reasonable under load. I saw a guy where they tested that. 92 horsepower. It does have DEF. I don't care about that. You know, it has DEF, doesn't have DEF. I don't care. You know, is it going to be problems? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know, right? But the big thing with this one was it was still under warranty, and part of the deal was to extend the warranty for 3 more years. So it's a full warranty up until I think 2029. So I'm good with that. Am I going to keep it that long? I'm going to use it that much? I don't know right now. We're just kind of thinking about it. But I wanted a machine that we could do more on the farm and we could start to do things for other people. So in the past, we had brush cutting done. We had post pounding done. One of the things I don't like about that is you hire somebody, they come in to do it, and you're kind of tied to them for the day because most of the time you don't just say, hey, go build the fence or go brush cut or whatever. They want to know more. You know, the post pounder was, you save money if you were there and actually loaded the posts on the pounder while the operator just ran the skid steer. Whereas the one that I got, the Dan User, is really cool. Has a grapple, picks the post up, tips the post under there, and one person can do everything from inside the cab. Now, it did not come quite like that. It came with a controller. Then I found, which I thought maybe my salesman did a little bit better job on that, but he didn't realize that there's actually Bobcat ones for it. And then talking to Dan User, I found out that they actually recommend a controller from Skid Steer Genius. And Skid Steer Genius, I looked at the controllers. I wasn't sure, thought that was the right one. I did a contact us, and bam, that guy emailed me back within minutes. It was after hours, like 5 o'clock the other night. He sent me a link for the exact one that I wanted. He said that it didn't look like something happened with the link, and I got the wrong link, and he got in there and fixed it. So I'm going to get the right one. And it's going to be able to, it comes with instructions, but I actually watched a video on that today, and it runs off the buttons in there. The one that came from Dan User hooks into the 12-volt cigarette lighter, and then you have a switch that you mount, and you have to run the wire out through the window. And I was like, this is like, as soon as I saw them, like, this is stupid. It's not going to work. And the other thing is that it uses a switch to switch back and forth, but the hydraulics, if the hydraulics are on, they're on. So I just thought that was kind of stupid. Probably a little bit unsafe too, and running the wire out and everything. So anyway, we're going to get that controller. Hopefully that's going to be here. I think it's supposed to be here Monday, coming from Nevada. But so post pounder and looking at getting a brush cutter, probably looking at getting a into forestry mulching, but that's a whole nother ball game. This is not a shatterproof door. This is the standard Bobcat door. Forestry package from Bobcat is, well, one time was quoted at $11,000 or $12,000. The second time it was quoted at $13,000. I'm not sure what was different about that, but talked to a lot of different people, and they said, they don't go for the whole forestry package. They change the door, they change the windows, because the windows are outside the cage. If you didn't notice that, the windows are on the outside of the cage. They change the windows, change the doors. They buy the fireproofing stuff for around the motor and the hydraulic lines, and they buy the thing for the roof. And then a lot of the other stuff they don't buy. You know, the one guy's like, oh, he doesn't buy the light covers. He's like, oh, if you break a light, you break a light. It's like, you know. So I think my plan for that is to get the door. I actually found a door that's cheaper than Bobcat door. It's like half as much. It's like Heavy Equipment Armor. They make a door that's half as 3/4 inch plastic, 3/4 inch polycarbonate, which is half the price of the Bobcat one. So I'm probably gonna get that first, and then we'll do the windows. We might just run it like that for a little bit, doing some brush cutting. And you know, the idea is if there's some mulching stuff that comes about, we will, you know, I'm thinking like, well, maybe if I can, I might just rent one and do it once I learn how, you know, that's half the battle, learn how to run the Bobcat. And then if you were, like if I was gonna go rent a forestry mulcher with this Bobcat and not know anything about the Bobcat, you'd spend a couple hours trying to get used to run the Bobcat, let alone the forestry mulcher. So once I get used to this, if I get somebody, hey, they want forestry mulching, I might just rent a whole machine and do it. But I am looking for trailers right now. I have my Ford F-250 Super Duty diesel that I can haul. I think it's rated, it can haul, what, 22,000 pounds total, with the truck and trailer would be 30,000 pounds. So I'm actually looking for a trailer. Been on Marketplace, trying to find one, tried to find a couple new ones. Nobody has new ones. I don't want to get real long. I want a 20-footer is plenty for me. But other than the automatic ride control sticker being scratched, this thing is like ready to rock and roll. It doesn't have any, I don't see any scratch. It has got a couple little nicks in the Bobcat sticker on the door. It does have a backup camera that's an aftermarket backup camera. I don't know if it's the Bobcat one or a different one, but they did put that in there. It's not really a backup camera. I mean, it's always on. So I guess you would call it a rear view camera would be the better way to say it. But the tracks are good. You know, I'm looking at accessories and things. I do kind of want to have somebody make me I was thinking about that today, actually, or maybe yesterday. I've seen where people have done bumpers, and I think I want to make one that uses some, this is for a tie down right there. That one there is for a tie down. But I think there are some holes in the other one. And I was thinking about, yeah, there's some holes up here. Right there. I was thinking about using those and maybe putting a couple more in. And I'd like to put a bumper on, but I was thinking, well, if I put a bumper on, I might just put a hitch on it. I might even be able to find like a used trailer hitch off of F-250 or whatever. They're about the same thickness of steel as that is. You know, what's this? This is maybe a quarter. This one's a little bit thicker, I think, but so they would probably work, and you could probably modify it or make it fit there. Then you have a trailer hitch, so like if you're gonna go pound post down in the back pasture, you could go down there. You could haul a trailer with you behind you with the post, and you could go down there and you could pound posts. When you wouldn't have to make 2 trips or take 2 people or whatever. Now this one does have the max control. So that's what's up top there. That is for the remote control. I got that added because I thought it sounded like a good feature to have once in a while when I'm by myself and I have 2 things to do or 2 pieces of equipment to get to somewhere. It's supposed to work with your phone if you're within 300 feet. It currently doesn't work because the dealership has not done their part yet. I don't know what the hold up is, but something about they had to go in through and basically they send you an invite, and then through the invite, that's how you get linked to your machine. So I have the app, but I go in there and it kicks me out because I don't have a machine assigned to me, I guess. But I know a lot of people have done videos on the T770. So, I mean, you know, I know people will say, oh, they overheat with forestry mulchers. Well, I'd actually talk to, I don't know which ones do that. I don't think all of them do that. And then, of course, you have different models of forestry mulchers. I talked to a guy who has a T770, had a forestry mulcher for sale within a couple hours of here. So, I mean, it's basically the same environment. And he said he's never had problems with overheating. So I don't know if it was the older models or what, but I'm not particularly worried about that right now anyway. What I wanted was a bigger skid steer with more capability. I mean, this thing, I think it's what, they all do their ratings a little bit different. What is it, 4,500 pounds it can pick up. So Bobcat does like a 30% tip and a 50% tip. And I think the max is 4,500 pounds at 3,800 at one of them. So it can pick up more than a lot of brands right around the same size. The other thing was the New Holland I was looking at was only 77 horsepower, I think. So, but one thing I do like about this is that it's very, now they changed them apparently on the R series, the new series, the 86 and whatnot. They changed them, but everything on this one is serviceable right here. You have your fuel filter, oil filter, and then the hydraulic filters up here underneath that screen. Everything's really easily serviceable from right back here. The motor is mounted in there sideways. And I think on the T86 and some of the, I don't know if it's all of them or not, but the R series, the motor's back in there straight, and they're not as easily serviced. So over here you have the DEF. One of the big complaints, I won't open the door back up, but one of the big complaints about them is the fuel filler is down in the door, and everybody says the nozzle for the fuel filter is small. There's your hydraulic fluid gauge right here. Got a sight glass. On the new ones, the R series, people have been complaining about that. It's down farther on the bottom. It's harder to see. So we'll just jump in here real quick and show some of the features it has in there. So this one has ride control, which is kind of weird because you can turn it on and turn it off. But this is, it just has a little bit of dust in it. I think they had it on a street sweeper, and it didn't get quite clean. I'm a little disappointed with the cleaning job. I think they could have cleaned it better than that if they were going to sell it. But anyway, so this is the deluxe model, has the deluxe screen up there. The other screen over here with the fuel gauge and stuff like that. This is the quick attach button. Love that automatic quick attach. It's really easy. This is the reverser fan, which you can have off, auto, or on. I'm not sure why you would ever turn it off. And then on the other side, you got your park brake on and off. This is, let's see. I know one of these this is ride control, I think. And this one is auto level bucket. Either that or I have them backwards. I think this one up here is ride control. And then you have your heat and air conditioning down there. Nice cup holder. On the other side, you have a radio, which does have Bluetooth capabilities, I believe. It's a nice little radio. And then here you have your 12 volt. And you have your AC vents up top, both sides, and then behind you. And I believe this seat is heated, and there's a switch right behind you on the left side back here somewhere. Haven't figured that out yet. It does have air ride. But this is the deluxe model. They make another one. They make platinum or gold or whatever. I turned the radio off. But you put in a password up there. You can have different passwords for different operators. You can keep track of things. You can set it so people can't run full throttle with their operator code that they put in. That's kind of cool. I mean, I'm not sure, what you would, you think everybody, I guess there's people out there that have employees like that. You think everybody's going to be careful and maybe some people aren't. I don't know. But I was thinking that'd be cool for my kids. If I wanted my kids to jump in it and move it, I could limit them so they can't go full throttle. There's the backup camera. I call it reverse camera. I mean, it's rear view camera because it's always on. And then over here's your other screen. It's got your fuel. Fuel's up there. Def's down here. It's telling me to put in a code, and that's the temperature. This screen over here has a lot of cool things you can do with it. It will automatically identifies Bobcat attachments, and it will tell you how to operate them. It's pretty cool. I don't have any Bobcat attachments for that to show you. And then you have your joysticks. There's a right joystick. This one here is the yellow button is float, and then these are all your actuators for different things. And you can actually have each one, so if you're doing different functions, you can have, I think they, a lot of different functions, 6, I think I maybe even seen some with 12, but that's pretty cool. This one over here, I like it has a snail. So if you click the snail, we'll show you this stuff later a different day, but so if you're going and you want to go slow, but you want to have full throttle or more throttle than slow, use the snail, and you can actually adjust it up and down by the percentage. So it's pretty cool. So like you could have, like if you're mulching or brush cutting, you probably want your throttle up so you can spin your machine how you want, but you use a snail and you can go 50% as fast as you wanted to, and you can adjust it up and down. And then you can also set operator things up here. I think there's, is it 1, 2, and 3? So you can change that too. And it actually will remember the snail. I'm pretty sure I figured out the other day that actually will remember the snail settings from previous. So like if you're out today brush cutting and you want to use snail, you have it set. It doesn't forget that, and it probably stays with the operator password too. So that's pretty cool. Because there's a lot of things. That's the big thing with the old skid steer I had, right? It had hand throttle over here. And you put the throttle up, and you don't have any choice other than to try to drive the joystick slower. Whereas this one also has joystick sensitivity. So if you push, you can set it so you don't have to push as far to get, you don't have to push as far to get the reaction or whatever you want. Or you can make it so that you can push all the way, and and you have to push all the way. But with the snail, you push all the way forward, and it's only going to go so fast, 50% or whatever you set it at. So that's pretty cool. You can also set the sensitivity for right and left. You can set it so that it can accommodate. So like you're going to drive across a side hill or something with a crown, you can set it so that it controls your steering, and it adjusts for it. The bucket sensitivity over here, you can adjust the sensitivity of this one, how fast the bucket goes up and down, how fast the bucket curls and uncurls. So that's pretty cool too. So there's a lot of cool features. Also has an air ride seat, and one of the coolest things about it is that the controls move with the seat. So like my daughter drove it the other day, and she was right up here, and she could see right out the window like nothing. Like I could drive it like this actually. My feet, my knees might just barely touch the door, but I could drive it like that. But I drive it back a little bit, and then of course I put the seat up. So it's very cool. I mean, this is a 2024. Bobcat has been making the T770 for, I think maybe 2012 was it, what I've seen was the first one. So it doesn't have all the problems that all of the T770s have. I mean, overheating and whatnot. Like I said, the guy that I talked to locally, he has one, never had it overheat. Is it state of the art? Is it like the latest greatest? No, it's not, but it's pretty close. It's a huge step above my New Holland, right? I mean, that's let's face it, that was kind of the goal, was to get something where you could I want to be able to use auxiliary hydraulics. I want to get in the game of using auxiliary hydraulics. I want to get in the game of doing a little bit of a side hustle for other people. Take this out. Basically, if I go out and work this machine one day a month, I can make the payment. But I wouldn't have bought it if I didn't think I could afford it anyway, right? But I've seen tons of videos about it. It's very serviceable. You know, I mean, I think it's great. Another thing Bobcat has, I mean, they just have some things that they just, I don't know, I guess they just thought of things. Like, I know, like for servicing, you can get on there on Bobcat. First of all, it's free shipping on anything over $100 on their webpage. They probably have from what I can tell so far, they probably have one of the best online parts departments, whatever you want to call it, that I've ever seen. I've done quite a bit with New Hollands. I've done quite a bit with Case Internationals. And I think Bobcat probably has the best one I've ever seen so far. I mean, so I have a login. I put my serial number in there, and I look up a part, and it tells you, you know, it's compatible with your machine, whatever, right off the bat. It tells you how much it is, all that. You spend $100, you get free shipping. But one thing they have for servicing is they have service kits. So they're a 500-hour service machine. You buy a 500-hour kit. It's a little bit different than a 1,000-hour kit. The 1,500-hour kit is a little bit different than the 1,000-hour kit. There's each one. They have each one like that. So like maybe, I don't know what you change differently. I know the 1,000-hour one's more money than the 500-hour one. The 500-hour kit's like $300, and the 1,000-hour one's a little bit more. So maybe you change the air cleaner or something else that you don't change in the 500-hour. I don't know, but it also lists all the parts. If you just want to buy the pieces, you can do that too. But I think that's pretty cool. I mean, that's to me, that's a step above the rest, right? And the shipping is like, well, if the dealer doesn't have it, they do. You just get it shipped to your house, no big deal. Saves you a trip. You know, people don't think about that either. You know, it's you know, there's no such thing as a quick parts run. You know, if the dealership's a half an hour away, you're looking at 1.5 to 2 hours. You're going to drive half an hour there, half an hour back. You're going to be there, you know, 15 minutes is quick in a dealership usually, you know, especially if they have to look stuff up. So anyway, that's the machine. That's kind of like what we want to do with it. I like it so far. It's definitely different. It's a little bit getting used to. I guess it rides a little bit rougher than a wheel machine, obviously. I don't know. You know, it's not, you know, it feels like, you know, a little tippier on hills and stuff like that, but I think it's going to work out real good. And, you know, buying a used one, the only thing I ever bought was used. We bought the 966 and the 986 used. Everything else has been new as far as tractors go. Got some used machinery, but so having this be 190 hours, you know, it doesn't have that new car smell. The guy put an air freshener in there, but it does have a lot of cool features that my New Holland didn't have. The price is right. I mean, you know, basically, you can look at it however you want, but basically by buying it with 190 hours, it was about $30,000 to $35,000 cheaper than new. And maybe, you know, maybe it's not what I want. Maybe I'm not going to be as happy as I think I am, or maybe I will be. I don't know. I've seen, you know, about the only other thing that I could see that I might change, that if I was going to change brands from watching other videos, seeing other guys that have skid steer focused businesses, ASV looks pretty good, but the nearest ASV dealership to me is about 2 hours, maybe a little bit more than 2 hours. Whereas Bobcat, there is one within 10 minutes, one within 40 minutes. There might be two within 40 minutes. There might be 3 within an hour. I kind of like I don't even know how to say it, Takaluchi. I've seen a lot of good things about them as well. Offhand, I have no idea where the closest dealership is for them. I've never seen a brand new Takaluchi skid steer near me. I think I've seen a used one somewhere, but I've never seen a dealership. So, you know, that's kind of Bobcat. Now they do have the, you know, maybe I use this for, you know, a few years, get my business started, my side hustle started. Maybe we don't start a side hustle. Maybe we just use it on the farm and call it good. I don't know, but I think the side hustle is probably a possibility. Maybe we use it for a year or 2 or 3 or whatever, and maybe we go for a T86, or maybe they come out with something new besides the T86, you know. But if I do buy another one and I buy new, I would probably get the forestry package like from the factory. And that's one thing that I like about ASV is they do have like 3 or 4. I think they have 4 that are considered forestry package machines right from the factory. They have the bulletproof glass, they have extra guards, extra protectors right from the factory. I think that's a nice option. They sell them now with the mulchers attached, so it's kind of like they're born with a mulcher from what I've seen. But the nearest dealer is probably maybe a little over 2 hours away. And the ASVs are a little heavier. So you have to consider that too if you're going to be hauling it. So that's why I'm looking at trailers right now. And there's any dealers close that have what I want. I want to get a 20,000 pound gross weight trailer, 20 feet long. I don't want to go any longer than 20 feet unless I absolutely get a good deal. I think 20 feet long is plenty. But this skid steer right here is basically 11,000 pounds. I think it's 10,000 something. So you throw a bucket on there, an attachment on there, you're 11,000 pounds, over 11,000 pounds easily. Then you have the weight of the trailer, say it's 4,000 pounds, you're up to 16,000 pounds. And some of the attachments weigh, some of the mulchers and things weigh like 3,000 pounds. So you'd be getting 18,000 pounds easily. And if you want to try to haul 2 attachments in the skid steer, you'd probably be really getting close to 20. So that's why I want to get a 20,000 pound. 25 I can't haul with my truck, I don't think, legally. And I know they're cracking down on all that stuff. People are saying, oh, you got to get your medical card and all that. I don't really want to do that, but I will if I have to. Same thing with my truck. My truck's a 2008 Super Duty diesel. It's rated to haul, I think it's 22,500 pounds. So the truck and the trailer together are 30,000 pounds or whatever. You know, maybe if we get going on the side hustle, we'll buy a different truck. I'd kind of like to get a single axle dump truck and then get an equipment trailer. But anyway, we'll show more videos. I'm really hoping to get the pounder going. I mean, it works. The way it works now is not, it's a little scary because it doesn't, having to hit the switch, not on the controls is to me, it's primitive. It's kind of dumb. It's a little dangerous, but hopefully we'll get that going and we'll be able to show you that pretty soon. And kind of the reason why I want to get the post pounder is like, hey, I got posts to put in way down back. I want to put posts in down there. If I had the post pounder, I could put it on here and I could run out there and I could pound post for an hour today, and I could decide, I'll leave the skid steer there, I'll drive the skid steer back or whatever, and I'll go out another hour a different day, things like that. So that's kind of what I'm looking at with that, is just being able to do things. When you're me and you're busy like I am, I'm teaching school, I have a farm, I have 3 little kids, my girls are playing softball, the kids have homework, all this, being able to do something for even a half an hour here and there is worth having this machine. If I can go pound post for half an hour on my own time, on my own schedule, and not have to match somebody else's schedule, it's huge. It really is. So I like it. I've done a lot of research with it. Like I said, is it the best of the best, top notch? No, it's not. But for what I wanted to spend and what I wanted to get, it fits in there really well. I mean, there are tons of attachments this machine can run, no problem, And Marketplace is flooded with attachments. You get down there and type in skid steer, whatever, and I mean, there's hundreds of them. So it just comes down to finding one for the right price in the right location, which is another reason why I need the trailer, so I could find one and I could say, hey, I'm going to go buy that. Can I come get it? Can I come look at it Saturday or whatever, and just jump in the trailer and go get it? Take the kids along, stop at McDonald's on the way or whatever. That's pretty much what's going to happen. So that's another reason why to get the trailer. I want to get a dozer blade. A new dozer blade was quoted at $11,000. I don't think so. I mean, there's probably 5 or 6 within a couple couple, maybe 3 hours of my house. So that are used, I would probably go the used route. I've seen 90-inch ones, 96-inch ones. It don't, 6 inches probably doesn't make a lot of difference as far as that. 90-inch probably, this machine probably can handle both. I have seen some modifications online that people have made to those too. So, I mean, I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos in preparation for this machine. I've seen a lot of attachments that are cool. I've seen a lot of people that have done customizing their things that are really cool. And I encourage you to check them out. I mean, one is it One Eye Custom or One Eyed Custom? The guy has a Bobcat just like this, and then he has a excavator. He makes like custom things for them. Really, really cool stuff. And I've been checking out brush cutters, Upstate Brush Control, Brushworks, a bunch of different companies. Different people have different reviews. So a lot of people talk, so I will hit the Kubota thing real quick. A lot of people talk Kubota. Kubota has a door that goes up. And people think, oh, that's great, that's awesome. And I've seen so many people that hate the door because it doesn't, after a while, it doesn't seal. And if you're doing brush cutting and mulching, it gets dirt in there in the channel and it makes it worse. I've seen that. I'm not, to me, the door is not a selling point. This one here, it opens, so the loader has to be all the way down for the door to open because it will hit right here, right? So the loader it actually gives you an alarm. If it's not all the way down, it'll give you an alarm and it'll say don't open the door. So the one thing, I actually said this to a salesman because I said, well, people always talk about the door, and he didn't understand. And I said, well, you have Bobcat, so you can undo your attachment, right? Then if you have an attachment hooked into your hydraulics, you have slack, right? Nobody has an attachment with no slack. So if you're worried about getting out of the door, you hit the Bobcat and you release your attachment. I did this the other day with the post pounder because I had to set the jack for it or whatever. And so you let go of it, you put it down, you back up, you use your slack to give you room. You only got to back up about this much, and the door can open up all the way easily, right? So like you're talking about your attachments may be mounted right here, depending on what it is. If it comes up this high, it would hit right there. So you back up that far, about that far, and you wouldn't hit the door. And can you get out of the door when it's this way, this far open? You can. The post pounder is about like that. It's a little, I don't think the door doesn't, because the post pounder stands right up. But if you curl it away from you, you could get out. But if you're going to stand it up to store it, it has to be completely vertical. So you just got to think about stuff like that. I mean, that's not, if you're going to have probably a foot, maybe even 2 feet of slack in your lines. Just unhook it and back up. It's not that big a deal. I mean, if you don't have to unhook the hydraulic lines, just unhook the Bobcat. But I just thought I'd throw that in there because some people don't think, Bobcat, New Holland, I don't know about Tagliucci, ASV, they all have doors that swing open. Kubota and Tagliucci might be the only two that have doors. I don't know if Tagliucci has a door that goes up or not, but Kubota does, right? So it's not just a Bobcat thing. There's lots of brands that are that way, right? So you just have to think about things like that. It's not that big a deal to unhook it and back up. But anyway, that's going to make it a video for today. Please like and subscribe and follow along for more from Triple D Farms, Triple D Cabins, and Triple D Maple. Set it different order today. And we will have videos with this machine doing things around the farm very quickly. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.